Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Nguyen, and the Insider crew.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 72, and we are back. And what I mean by back is not only is Manny, Damon, and Robert here, but we are back with our original equipment. Whew, it feels good to see these microphones and everything back in order.
Yeah, last week I felt like we were trying to land the plane with duct tape and glue.
Kudos to Robert, though, man. He was MacGyvering as much as he could to make that happen. But yeah, I really like seeing these Telefunken mics back again.
I don't think we missed them until they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
But last week we had computer problems, and because we do this on video, it wasn't simply as a soundboard. We had to be able to run it through and capture the video. And Robert MacGyvered it, but the sound wasn't up to our normal level. And Lord knows he ran it through so many processors trying to make it as good
I don't
possible.
know. I kind of liked your voice. It was a little bit
including
different.
AI. We used AI to help smooth out some of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of the ways that AI will help. Is you can put audio through a program, and it comes out sounding way more like a podcast straight from the camera microphone.
Do you think we can call in sick and just tell Laura that AI
is going to do our jobs for us? Hey, you never know.
No, we can't. All right, little housekeeping. If you're enjoying this episode, be sure to remember to hit that like button, comment, because we always love seeing your comments. And, of course, we talked about how we surpassed 75,000 subscribers on YouTube recently. I think we're now up to about 76, so well on our way to 100K. So each and every one of you that are listening, you can make a difference just by hitting that subscribe button. So, not only is the equipment back, but I'm back. I can't believe I haven't been in here for, it was like 13 days or something like that?
And I'm back, too.
And you're back. And
it's been weird.
Yeah. And, more importantly, the pods from Parade are back.
As soon as we're done this, we have 3 pods are waiting to be unloaded.
Yeah. Vu arrived, we opened the door, and he popped out.
Yeah. So, let's talk about what you did last week. Manny, I think you went to one of my favorite places, which is the Air and Space Museum.
Oh, yeah. And, I don't remember the name. It's like
Udvar Hazy.
Okay.
Udvar Hazy.
So for the listeners, if you're ever in Dulles, Dulles Airport, IAD, if you're ever there for a long layover, or at least like 3 hours, you owe it to yourself to get an Uber and just go over to the museum, which is literally next door to the airport. And that's how they brought all these cool planes in, because they have a runway that connects to the main runway. But yeah, the region had a great tour. I'm going to say about maybe 40 cars.
Oh, nice.
We had like 3 groups, I think. And
did the museum know that you were coming? Were they expecting you, or did you just kind of show up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's a huge museum.
It's a huge place.
Yeah, we found the little corner in the parking lot where we could park, and no one would walk that far to park their car. But I was surprised how many people who live in the area had never been to that museum.
Yeah. I mean, we take it for granted. We have so many museums, the Smithsonian, and a lot of them are free, but we really only go there. Yeah, and their exhibits change all the time, right? But we only go there when someone comes into town. Like
I still got to go to the Holocaust Museum.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
been there. And Megan was listing 2 other museums she went to that I hadn't even heard of that are in Washington. But the Air and Space next to Dulles is cool, because the last time I went there, when it just opened, and they had the space shuttle, but you couldn't walk around it. You just saw the nose of it. So this time they have the whole wing set up. That thing is pretty big.
And this is not to be confused with the Air and Space Museum that's actually next to the mall, that is very cool, but much smaller. That's like the original one. I think it's when we drove through there with Mr. Fabig, I think it was like under construction. So I don't even know if it's even open right now. But the one at Dulles, if you had to choose between the 2, I definitely would go to the Dulles one. And I think they also have every aircraft engine at Dulles on display, which is cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So they had the stealth bomber, the Enola Gay.
Yep.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
And then I had a 2.5-hour ride home in miserable
DC
Northern
traffic.
Virginia traffic on a Sunday afternoon.
50 miles, 2.5 hours, or something like that.
Yeah, that's the only downside is it's kind of a haul, especially with traffic. Now, Damon, you recently got a new to you car. because the whole
Sort of. I
the
haven't
whole golf
bought it
thing.
yet. You know,
I saw you drive it yesterday.
It's basically mine, or so. I'm buying it from my girlfriend. So
Okay,
she's.
Did
she's,
you negotiate? Did you get her down on the price?
No, I didn't. So I'll back up a little bit. I'll back up a little
man.
bit. So the reason I missed last week was, so for those of you who don't know, I hit a deer in May in my Golf TDI 6-speed manual. Loved that car. They ended up totaling it, my insurance company, and I thought I would have to fight tooth and nail to get the price that I wanted for it, which would have been $14,000.
Yeah.
Thought it was probably worth maybe a little more, but I'd be happy with that. So I was preparing for them to.
Oh, I didn't notice that blood splatter.
Yeah,
that was on the fender.
that's the deer did not survive. That deer.
That would have been awesome if they would have just left that there. You could have driven around.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So for those who haven't or looking at the YouTube video or not watching the YouTube video, the whole front right of the car is crunched in, and there was a whole bunch of stuff wrong with it. About $12,000 in damage.
If you play back our podcast, you remember me saying that car is probably totaled.
Yeah. I mean, it looked it, but I mean, the first
But
estimate
the
was like
airbags
6,000.
didn't go out though.
No,
Doesn't
they
matter.
didn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The amount of parts that car needs
Yep.
and the labor involved to put it together, I could just tell that's done.
Yeah,
And
so-
honestly, I told you, even if they said they could fix it,
Probably shouldn't.
you probably
Yeah.
shouldn't, because I think Manny was talking about like a car that like one of his companies had where it caught on fire and they eventually fixed it, but was never right.
And insurance company said next time just let it burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I got rid of the MR2 when I got rear-ended in it, because
Yeah.
I thought, this is my daily driver. An MR2 that's repaired wrong is going to rust, in like no time at all.
Yeah.
But basically, the insurance company surprised me and actually paid more, and I'll just say it because it's car value, $14,693 for my Golf.
And you've had that car how many years?
Since 2017, brand new, and the MSRP was $18,500.
I know,
roughly.
right? So you drove that car for like $4,000?
Yeah,
$5,000?
so, I mean, a little more because,
Yeah.
of course, they get you for the maintenance plan and all that, which I should have said no to. So it was more like 20 or something like that.
okay.
But still,
not bad.
so my girlfriend has a 2015 Mazda 3, 6-speed manual, and she's looking to move up into a newer, lower mileage car, for her daily driver. She does a lot of driving, and so I'm going to buy her a Mazda 3.
Well, that's cool.
Same
And
year,
so
same
is
sort
she
of car,
original owner?
$6,000.
Original owner?
Not the original owner. She's had it since 70,000 miles, but she's taken good care of it. She's replaced the clutch in about like 10,000 miles
great
ago.
shape.
It's in good shape.
It's a 15.
It's a daily driver.
It's a
so-
15, so to me, that's
Yeah.
quite a new car.
That's like a whole generation for me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same year as the TDI. So
Yeah.
I'll have that, and then I'll have money left over. And guess where that's going?
And you're already spending it because I saw you looking at suspension parts for the
Well,
car.
it needs new shocks and springs.
Your daily driver.
But the funny thing, he's not even like in club racing yet. He's already down the slippery slope.
Yeah, no, but it's nice because I'll be able to get those control arms or limited slip differential or something for the Porsche.
Well, I'm glad it went that direction. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
it'll be better for you in the
too.
long run. And so,
Yep. Oh, and they also let me I put Porsche brakes onto the car and GTI wheels, and I asked the insurance company in the yard. They said, "Yeah, come and pull them
as long as you put the originals back on.
as long as I put the originals back
Yeah,
on."
we did
So-
that with when Loanna, she had a Civic EX that we had done up with tons of aftermarket stuff. This was like just after college, and someone rear-ended her and destroyed the car. The car went from Concord, no dents and dings, to a dent in every panel of the car, including the roof. And
Wow.
I was like, obviously wasn't getting the car back, so I asked if I could put everything back together. So I went in, I basically did the suspension twice, did the wheels twice, did the brakes twice, did the intakes twice, and took everything out of the car. But they said as long as you put the original stuff back in, you're good to
Then
go.
you're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can sell it for whatever. So I'm a happy camper.
So I wasn't here last week because I was on what I would say is Loanne's bucket list Le Mans trip. Like this was really going to Le Mans for her.
Yeah.
Going to England and going to Wimbledon. And so
Wow.
this is a big birthday year for her. So she's been wanting to do this. And
You know, the screen is not a PCA Concorde.
So this was my commitment to go on a trip that I had basically zero input on, and I just want her to plan what she wanted to do for Wimbledon.
Did you steal the Wimbledon trophies?
So she suggested Goodwood.
So
Yeah, I was gonna write.
so I'm getting to that. So Wimbledon is just like we were talking about how the museums here, and as locals we don't go. Like Wimbledon is obviously a very big thing, and a lot of people in England and London don't actually get to go to Wimbledon. So it is a big deal to go, and it's always sold out. And so
It's kind of like you've never gone to a Ravens game, even though they're 30 minutes away.
I went to that big celebration when they won the Super Bowl. Hey, hello.
Ravens Roost.
Yeah. So she did all the research, and it's hard to get tickets, but she planned it all. And I really had no thoughts of doing anything car related, maybe possibly visiting our friends at Porsche Club Great Britain. And that was like my, maybe. And so turns out, Wimbledon is 2 weeks, and at the tail end of Wimbledon, it coincides with Goodwood. So if you allow me, I just want to thank a few people. So Nick Taylor, Simon Spoon from Porsche Club Great Britain, Lee Wilford from Porsche Cars Great Britain, Ruth Coleman, Porsche Cars Great Britain, of course, our buddy Paul Greger from PAG, Porsche Clubs Worldwide. They heard I was going to be in town, and they said, we might be able to get you in. And that might turn into something pretty amazing. And as any of you that have followed Goodwood this year, like, they weren't lucky in terms of rain. Let me pause right there, though. Go back to Wimbledon. So Loanne got 2 center court seats, and I didn't really understand what that meant. I just thought that was just like seats in the center of the court of a particular game. I didn't realize it was like the major court.
Please tell me you wore your pickleball shirt one of the days.
I didn't dare. But I knew those seats. That's like getting to go to Le Mans and getting a pit pass. Like, that's how I equate it. So she had her friend Evelyn, who's from here, a big tennis fan as well, go with us. And I'm like, look, you guys are obviously going to enjoy center court seats. It's much more than I would. But Loanne still wanted me to have the experience. And my experience was to do what's called the queue. Do you know what that means? Like to queue?
Line. Yeah, the line.
To
queue.
To queue in line. I got to say, people in London are incredibly patient and queuing for things, not only for Wimbledon, but...
And they don't have handguns. That makes it even more impressive.
They were so, like, patient. So here we are on Monday. We go to Wimbledon. There's a field. I think it's Earl's Park or something like that. We get in line at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the ticket there's a person walking around literally with a flag that says Q, and
not the letter Q.
No, it was the letter Q. It was the letter Q.
Wow.
But it means something different there, right? So, not going to get political. Anyways, so you go to the person holding the flag, and they give you your ticket for your chance to get into the grounds. 8 o'clock in the morning, we're there. Thankfully, it was a beautiful day, huge field, and as you saw, those of you that are watching on YouTube, people are dressed nicely. We got ticket 5.
Is there a attire you have to wear? Do you have a dress code?
No. I mean, I think it's just an understood dress code. Like, people, I would say, are dressed in just slightly below business casual. Like, there are people that are in jeans and shirts, but everyone's just dressed nicely. No one's like in tank tops and
even for center court.
For center court, everyone's dressed pretty nicely. Yeah. So anyway, so we're in this park. I get ticket 5,800 and Like, that's how many people are there at 8 in the morning. And so,
did they have to line up in order?
Yeah, you in line in order.
Oh, so they're just walking down the line, handing you tickets.
And you have to be there in order to ticket. And you can't say, "Can I have an extra one?" because my buddy's parking the car. Like, you have to be there, or they won't give you a ticket. And everybody understands this. Everybody stands in line. They tell you that you can't bring a chair. Guess what? Maybe 2 people, and I could see like these older people. They brought like a little collapsible chair, but you can't bring chairs. People brought tiny blankets because you can't really bring big stuff in. And everybody was okay with it. They were like popping champagne. There was a couple of food trucks. And I'm just looking around going, man, this is very orderly, but this definitely wouldn't work.
Nobody brought their personal Easy Up?
No. Well, I take that back. So at the very front of the line, there were people queuing in for the next day. And those people, I think like maybe the first 100 or so, they actually get tickets to. They have a chance to get tickets to go to center court. So those people stay overnight, and I think they work it out where when they go in, all of their tent stuff, they have like a locker that you can rent and throw that stuff in there. So that was really cool. And to give you a further illustration of how patient it is, so we were downtown London checking out all the touristy sites, right? You know how many times I heard a horn honk? I can count it on my hand. Manny, you would not be able to survive there. Like all this gridlock, traffic, and I probably heard horns maybe 4 times, and it was probably because a tourist walked in front of a car or something.
How do you tell someone you're about to hit me?
They just don't. They just don't. It's just very, it's very orderly. It's so cool. Same thing when we were in the underground. So I was, 13 days out there, and maybe, actually, the whole trip, I didn't drive. The whole trip, I didn't drive.
Wow.
We took the underground everywhere. We took the rail everywhere. Tap in, tap out. That's a thing. So everything is with your credit card, and you tap a little thing, just like if you buy Starbucks, and you go in and you get everywhere you need to go. It was really cool. So fast forward through that, and Goodwood was.
Did you try to push it because you were there during the British Grand Prix at Silverstone?
I know.
And
Yeah.
since she was going to. She was really there with Evelyn. You were just.
I was third wheel. I was third
wheel.
wheeling big time.
I looked on the map, and Silverstone, I think, was like 2.5 hours away.
Yes,
I
know.
thought, I wonder if he's going to look for a train that'll get him out to Silverstone.
I kept my promise. Like it really, I didn't want to, mess up her plans. And we got to see, Buckingham Palace. We got to see all the cool stuff. For those of you, London Bridge. What do you think of London Bridge? What do you think?
I thought they sold the original one somewhere actually in the United States.
So, that's true. That's true.
Like Arizona or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah. So, but you as a kid, you sing about London Bridge and everything like that.
London Bridge, is that the one where
London Bridge?
Yeah, but is that the one with the Big Ben behind her or something?
So Big Ben is near there.
Okay.
I did get to see Big Ben, but the disappointing thing is Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge is what you think London Bridge should be. It's huge, it's ornate, it's like it's beautiful, right? And London Bridge looks like it was made in the 70s, and it's just so plain. And because I guess they had to repair it, London Bridge is not what you think it is. Tower Bridge is what you think of.
It actually fell down, maybe, right? At some point,
they took
right?
it down.
Or
They took it down. And Westminster Abbey.
Is that the first time you've been to London?
So I've been to Heathrow
that
many
doesn't
times,
count.
but I've never left the airport.
I've been to Heathrow too. I ate
And-
at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant.
And
there.
I gotta say, this was really a cool vacation. I give props to my wife for putting all this together, and she has friends that live there. And Letitia and Harj, I'm going to give them a shout out. They hosted us and gave us all the ins and outs of going to, and it was awesome. If you haven't done London, do it, and you're not going to regret
Or
it.
England in general. England's a
Or
pretty
England
sweet
in general.
country.
And to see things that were built so much older than things like DC. When we see our buildings, we think it's pretty old. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And that's nothing compared to England.
It's funny, when I was out there and driving around some of the back roads to get to Goodwood last year, you get this feeling that the roads you're driving on were around 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
In like Game of Thrones status or something.
That's the thing. So to get onto the car topic in
Yeah.
England, obviously the driver is on the right side, right? But your gauges are still in mile an hour. So that's kind of cool. Now in my K truck, which is from Japan, when you sit on the right side to drive, my turn signals are on the right side. Guess where it is in England? It's actually on the left side.
Is it still on the left side?
It's still on the left side, even though you're sitting on the right side. So I wasn't driving, but I was watching Harj drive, and I'm like, man, okay, I got to figure all this out. And again, they're so thoughtful because they know that many of us from other places come over. They have signs everywhere that they go, always look left or always look right when you're crossing the street, because we tend to look the wrong direction. And they have instructions for everything. Getting on the train, you know what mind the gap means?
That's, fall between the train and the platform.
Yeah, mind the gap. So I have all
It's a
these
recorded
isms.
voice that does that.
I have all these isms, but the roads are super tight. Like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a 911 is really a big car in London and around England. I wouldn't own a car with wheels that are larger than 18 inches and with, a significant sidewall, because you kind of have to go up on curbs like all the time.
Yeah.
When there's many a times when you're on a street where you've got to like pull off and get on the curb so that the other car can pass by, and then you kind of bounce down on the curb. Like, that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a nice car there is kind of tough. I think if you live out further in the burbs, maybe that's better. But the roads even out in the burbs are like
Super
countryside.
thin. So if you're going by, they've got hedges on one side, or both sides really. And so if you have somebody who isn't minding their lane coming in your direction, like so my Golf that I rented, it definitely had some scratches from just the hedges on the side, because I'm trying to like, oh my God, there's a Bentley coming straight at me.
Yeah. And they're used to it. So they, in the city, you're not, everywhere you go, you're driving at like 30 miles an hour. Like, it's not.
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. But once you go out, people are on these little back roads. They're flying, and they are very confident at doing a flyby with like inches between you. And if you're not used to it, you're like, whoa. Yeah. So
makes you think about the all those videos that are filmed out there for YouTube, and all the supercars that are super wide.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it and have fun driving on those roads, knowing that around the corner, somebody might be in their lane, but your car is so it's interesting out there.
So fast forward to Goodwood, and it started actually on Thursday night. Believe it or not, Lee and the crew got me an invitation to the Duke of Richmond's dinner on Thursday night, which was quite amazing. I had to go and rent a tux, and that was such an ordeal. But
the Duke of Richmond is the guy whose driveway you're driving up and down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the story is the whole Goodwood.
That's not the Duke of Richmond.
That's the Duke of Clarksville.
Yeah, if you're looking on YouTube right now, there's a picture of Vu in the tux. And
that's the Duke of Clarksville.
You said you had to rent that tux?
Yes. Why? What are you saying?
I'm just...
I know he's got some smart comment.
I know, right?
I thought you might have owned the tux.
Yeah, well, I do, but the tux that I own is a size too small.
Thankfully, I swallowed my coffee before you said that.
Hush. Hey, wedding day was a long time ago.
I think Luann's the same size now.
She is.
Right.
I know. So it's a kind of a who's who dinner, and it was the that night. What they do is they introduce the installation.
Is that Lee? That's not Lee Newton.
It is Lee Newton. Yeah, that is Lee Newton.
No kidding.
I'm jumping. You're jumping ahead. So, anyways, the installation. Those of you may have seen it. The Porsche. The sort of like all the cars that are kind of flying in different directions. Now, that installation, those cars that you see up there are the actual cars. It's not replicas. It's not like a vehicle that has been lightened for that structure. Those are real cars from the museum. And the Duke of Richmond commissions this gentleman, last name Jonah, I believe. He does this every year. And if it looks familiar to you, he's the one that also did the structure that is in front of the Porsche Museum. And I believe the story for this one is December, dinner. He has some sort of thing in mind. He sketches it out. He works with engineers. And that is all made out of metal. That is all metal, all assembled and craned up and balanced on this base. And that is a temporary structure that will go. That's probably already down by now. And then all that material is recycled for the next installation.
Now, Damon, I want you to look at that. So next time we're thinking about asking the museum to borrow one of their cars.
Yeah,
right.
All we have to say is, and hey, at least we're not hanging it in midair.
Yeah.
With the pole shoved up its
Isn't that crazy? So if you're wondering how those cars are actually attached to the structure, beneath of the car is almost like a 4-point car pad. So the cars drive up on that car pad, and the wheel, there's a strap around each wheel. And that's it. Like nothing is actually bolted to the car. The tires and the wheels are strapped to the installation, including the one that's upside down. Now everything is all the cars there are actual cars except for the 963. That one is a mock-up car, but it was.
I like the
amazing.
what is that, 962 or 956? I think it's a 956.
956.
956.
So 956, it's upside down, and all those, we have an upside down 956 in our office. And I
Right.
believe the museum did for a while because
Yeah.
you could theoretically
It's still there.
drive
Yeah,
upside
still there.
down.
And actually, one of our friends who was with us, said, "Well, how come that car is upside down? That looks weird." And I explained to him that's the point. The downforce of that car is so strong that driving at speed, you literally could turn it upside down. It would still stick to the ceiling.
Yep.
So, so that was a beautiful evening on Thursday night, and then we came around to.
What kind of food did they serve at a meal like that?
Gosh, I was talking with so many people.
And did you go out for a fourth meal after that?
No, because we actually didn't finish up until like midnight, and by the time I got to the hotel, and I knew that Paul was going to be picking us up at like 6 a.m. the next morning. So yeah, there was no fourth meal. And honestly, everything closes early in London or England. Let's see. So, that night at the table, it was good food, but it was really the people that I was around. I got to meet the gentleman that's head of motorsports of Germany. So that was cool. I got to meet the driver, Adam Smalley. So Adam Smalley was driving that Cup car. If you're on our Instagram and you saw all the different cars, so he was driving the Cup car. He was actually, that night we were kind of celebrating because he was FTD as of Friday. Thursday night, right? And then on Sunday he finished fourth overall, which is significant because if you look at the cars that are above him, like that, I mean, they're a different level, like horsepower and kind of like.
So you got to think,
cars.
what is the reward for going up that hill the fastest? Because I know that there was a very, very valuable.
Yes, we'll talk about that a little bit later because we have some video. Now, the thing is, so people laugh at us, not laugh at us, but some people say that an autocross isn't enough driving and like doing, and I get it, going to DE days or doing lapping days, you get more driving time. But keep this in mind, I didn't really understand this, but Goodwood, they're driving up a hill and their run times are like a minute.
Yeah.
And they only do it twice a day.
You got to learn that fast.
You got to learn that so
and they don't
fast.
autocross out there all that much, I don't think. Do they?
I don't know.
I've heard that in Europe and probably England, it's more track day than autocross.
I think so because they don't have land. I mean, they don't have places to do autocrosses. I don't think.
Yeah.
Autocrosses
Maybe you should
don't
enter. You got more experience than they do, probably.
Yeah,
So-
but autocrosses don't have a brick wall.
Yeah,
on
hay
one
bales.
side that
and
you
hay
can-
bales,
yeah.
and it's intimidating. And I was talking to Adam. I was like, so Adam drives in the Super Cup or the Carrera Cup, and he was talking about how unlike lapping days where you can go a couple of times and kind of figure out your line, figure out how the car handles, and he says with Goodwood, it's like you set your car up, you hope that it's right, and then you drive it. And you drive it, you run it up the hill, hopefully 8 times. I said, so do you make corrections to the car, after you drive? And he actually says no, because it's so quick and it's better that he adjusts to the car than the car adjusts to him because he wants to be able to predict how the car is doing, and he's worried that if you do any kind of changes to the car and he doesn't predict it, as Manny said, the consequences are quite severe.
Yeah,
I was like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, if I have for autocross, if my car feels good but I'm not getting a great time, I tend to just focus on my driving rather than.
Yeah.
But if I have a good time and the car felt good, I might adjust something. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can always find more time as a driver.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And he was super nice, and actually he's looking forward to maybe either jumping on a call with us and describing what's it like to drive at Goodwood, or maybe come over.
Talk to the
visit.
GT1 driver.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, we'll get to that. Hold on to that. So then I was able to attend just on Friday. I didn't want to take the whole weekend away from Loyan. So
You're
Friday.
such a good husband.
I am.
Why don't you tell him what happened on Saturday? So
So I didn't know this was going to happen on Saturday, but on Friday it was somebody's phone. We said talk about.
it's on vibrate.
It's on the table.
So Friday it was, at times torrential rain. But I've got to say, it was still an amazing experience. The property at Goodwood is huge, and if someone was to ask me how to describe it, I would say imagine Monterey Car Week was one event, because it had the Porsche part, which would be Works Reunion, and then they had the Pebble Beach part of it, right? And then they had the track part of it, or the running up the hill, and then they had a rally part of it. But this is all on one property.
Yeah. That's why I love this. It's my favorite event that I've been to probably the past 5 or 10 years.
If you've thought about maybe adding it to your bucket list, I would say it absolutely is a bucket list event. But I will caveat and say, if you are a Porsche enthusiast and looking to going to the ultimate Porsche event, that is not it, because it's multi-make. And I think maybe if I'm not mistaken, Damon, we see Porsches all the time. So when we go to an event and we see other cars, it's kind of cool that we can enjoy some of that too, and see how people in those worlds kind of live. And there were a lot of supercars, hypercars. There were and I guess because the location, European manufacturers dumped a lot of money into this event. But having said all that, you need to be sort of British to truly enjoy it, because you queue for everything. You queue to go over the bridge. You queue to go get food. And there's 30, 40,000 people normally, and the infrastructure of that property is still like the 1800s, the roads and the number of access. And it hasn't been upgraded really to accommodate all this traffic. But you know what? Everyone is okay with it. And so, no one really loses a gasket, and you just know you've got to wait. Like, I think on Thursday, the last 2 miles to get into the place was like a 2-hour wait.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people that go regularly, they understand that, and they just adjust to it. It's kind of cool. Yep. Let's see. And then, lots of social media stuff that I've captured for you and for Bog. So for those of you that are listening, make sure you watch on our reels on Facebook and on Instagram, and you'll catch some of the scenes there. And then Saturday was unfortunately, it wasn't the rain that canceled Goodwood. It was actually gale force winds, like 50, 60 mile an hour winds. And when I was there on Friday, I could tell, like, some of the, when you go to events, you have banners, you have these poles or whatever that are put up, and they were just worried about the safety of all the people. The sad part of it is, unfortunately, like, unlike buying a ticket that gets you to the event on any of the days, you have to buy day specific tickets. So everyone that bought a ticket just for Saturday, they couldn't go to Sunday. So if they didn't go to Friday, or if they didn't go to Thursday, man, I feel so bad for the event organizer on that part of it, because no one wants to be put in that position. But I think they had decent weather on Sunday to kind of finish it all out. And this is where we can, I think, talk about, the condition of the surface probably was still not perfect yet. And unfortunately, one of our favorite cars, the GT1, went up the hill, and I'll let Manny share what happened.
Oh, I think he ran out of talent early on and hit the hay.
Why don't you say it a little bit nicer? He didn't run out of talent.
Was that a GT1 98? Or was that?
No, I think it was. Oh, no, what would have been a 98, because it was the Le Mans winning cars.
So that's the Mobile One livery. Mobile One livery number 26 car. And what Adam shared with me at dinner, he says the road, the road that they go up is crowned differently. It's not perfectly flat, and if you're not familiar with it, or if there's something that causes different traction that you're not expecting, that there are turns that even the most seasoned drivers can end up into a wall. And I'm like, ooh, that's.
Fortunately, it was a hay bale for that car. But it looked like it lost
still looked
its,
terrible.
Lost
its tail
rear end or something.
Lost the rear engine cover. And it was bad. Before we go on to the next thing, I wanted to share and say thank you to Simon and to Nick. Manny, you're totally going to be jealous about this. Oh, check this out. So they heard that I was a 1/18 scale collector. And look at this.
You have your 356 now.
So, yeah. And so they have a model. Robert, if you can actually bring up the picture of... Nope, not that one, Robert. So that car is the 356 that belongs to the club, and they call that, I think they call it Robin Hood. So they went to Spark and made, I think it's 60 or something like that. It's a limited number.
Yeah.
Anyways.
One of 8. No, that's 1/18th
Yeah,
scale.
I think they made 60 copies or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they gave me one for my collection. So I thought that was very cool.
Super cool.
And
So why does PCA only have a 143rd version of the Club Coupe?
well, now Nick and Simon also knew that Manny collects 143rd, so you get your
I get my
I know
mini me.
He was a little bit sad.
Did you
but-
see how he just deflected your question
Yeah.
right there? Gave you a gift.
Well, thank you, Porsche Club Great Britain.
Where's
Cool,
mine?
right?
This will be the
Just kidding, I don't collect that
You don't
stuff,
collect
so.
cars, so they.
I was going to say that after what Boggs did to his model.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he took it apart
right
and
in
started
front of,
playing
he
with it.
didn't take it apart. He ripped the box.
Yeah.
we were looking
So-
in horror.
So
That's
Manny,
very
make sure
cool.
you thank Nick and Simon. They knew you collect 143rd,
Yes,
so they
I'll
wanted you
take
to
a
have
picture
that.
of it in my collection and send it to him.
Yeah.
That's very awesome. I'm kind of jealous because this is very nice packaging.
It is very nice.
PCA didn't have this.
Yeah. So now we have a relationship with Spark too, so we can for future projects.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Some couple of videos have come out since we last were together, and maybe we'll hit on those.
Yeah, TechArt. That was
Oh, the flyweight.
yeah, the flyweight. If you can't get an allocation for a GT3 RS, why not buy a Turbo S and then make it into a GT3 RS kind of car?
The sad part is you probably can't get an allocation for a flyweight either. I think.
Oh yeah, because
there's
they were
only-
like probably halfway sold out when we filmed it. Right?
Yeah, maybe you
So-
can, maybe you still can, but I think there's only like 19 that were going to be built, and this thing is a monster. 800
Yeah.
horsepower. It's they take a Turbo S and just if you wanted
It's
to
for someone who's not shy.
not shy, definitely it's something
You have
that
to be very extroverted. to
So
drive it.
here's my take on it. So TechArt makes great things. It's not really my style. However, this car being so track focused and built how it is, that is right up my alley.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I would if I had a Turbo S, I would strongly consider a flyweight. I probably just wouldn't do the graphics and the
stuff
paint
like
job.
that, yeah.
Because that thing, I mean, they've done the testing for the aero and on track, and they put a lot of. I mean, what is it, 132 pounds or so lighter than
Yeah,
a Turbo
I mean,
S?
what they've done is what a track junkie, if they had the opportunity to modify their Turbo S and do everything to make it lightweight, handle better, get rid of all the bits and pieces that aren't really necessary, you keep a little bit of the creature comforts, but it is streetable. But if you watch the video, you can tell it is a track car.
But do they? Yeah, I look at that. To me, if you're a track junkie and you're not driving a cup car, you're going to get the Montai kit
yeah.
because it doesn't have all the pretty stuff, but it's pure performance.
yeah, but
That looks like the car where you have a Turbo S and your buddy has one, and you want something different,
Absolutely.
and you get this.
And in the last couple of years, you hear this word a lot, and I'm not even sure where it came from.
Please
and
don't say bespoke.
exactly.
Oh my God! I refuse to write bespoke.
I
in
never.
anything I write. I will not use that
People
word.
overuse that, but where did
My
that come
toilet
from?
paper is bespoke,
Bespoke toilet paper.
specially made just for
But
me.
I think that's what you're getting at, Manny. Is like if you and a buddy have Turbo S's and you want to take it to that next level, this is the.
I mean,
quote,
that's why exclusives has gotten so big because
Sure.
they realized the TechArts of the world were obviously generating a lot of revenue because people wanted an individual car. What all the phone calls we get here at PCA? How often do we get how many did they make of this particular
Yeah.
color, this particular interior, so on and so forth? So they really have found a niche, I think, for someone who doesn't want what may consider a boring Turbo S. To us, it would be like, oh my God, this
Right.
is like the ultimate. But now you want to step it up.
So I should have asked. Maybe we can ask Kevin or somebody at TechArt at some point. So there are only, I think, 19 flyweight
that will be built. Yeah.
that will be built, but they have a new flyweight division, and it sounds like the rear Lexan or
You can
specs,
get-
but
you can get the parts, yeah.
So you could build your own. It just wouldn't be technically a flyweight, the official
Yeah.
car. So
I think that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like all that stuff. That cool track mods.
It's crazy. And so Kevin, I believe, not only works for TechArt, but I believe he's also one of those hired drivers. The man can drive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He was very comfortable with that car, and he offered for me to drive it. I'm like, you know what? Let me record the video, and why don't you drive it? And that thing is just.
Did you see where they got the name Flyweight?
I didn't ask.
Because to me, I think of a boxing class.
Yeah.
Flyweight's like the lightest
Oh yeah,
weight.
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it is.
Versus heavyweight being obviously.
Well, I mean, I
on
think
the side.
it's counter to what when you think of a Turbo S, you normally think of a heavyweight. So maybe that is they took a heavyweight and made it into the flyweight division.
Yeah.
You drove kind of on the opposite end in terms of power. You drove a 356C,
The double-digit horsepower,
double-digit horsepower.
proving you.
But
can,
the
you can have
fun
a blast.
factor, the fun factor was still
Oh yeah, I mean,
really good.
There's no safety features. It's makes glorious sound with the top down. It was and it was the last day Bob was going to have it. It was shipping out that same day to a new customer.
Oh wow!
So hopefully the new customer got to see the video and is having fun with the car as well because it was turnkey, ready to go.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
and people seem to have enjoyed. I think they have roughly the same amount of views, yours and mine. Only mine's been online for 6 months, 7 months.
I've tried to make hide or hair of some of these reviews to
Yeah.
understand what people like, and I haven't been able to make
Yeah,
makes sense.
Along those lines too is people talk about our behind the scenes or getting into the factories to look at stuff. We recently released the KW suspension video, and it's doing all right, but it's not grown like some of the other ones. And honestly, I felt like we got some amazing access into KW and seeing things that people haven't seen before. So yeah, trying to just kind of understand what gets traction and moves.
Yep.
But for those of you that follow us on YouTube and maybe share with your friends and let them know, there's some amazing videos that we've put out there for you to check out. Let's get into the news. The Porsche Crest. Did
you read the article?
Yeah, I did.
I got to say, as much as people say you know everything about Porsche, I go, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I love learning new stuff, and kudos to the Porsche Archives for bringing this out because I have never read about this, and I was really fascinated. And if you guys Google the alternate Porsche Crest, I don't know, did we put an e-brake, anything in it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I think it just might
Next
come
week.
out after you did e-brake. So basically, they wanted to change the crest because they said it was too busy. And they were looking at the Mercedes star and the VW simple logo. So they were trying to use the letter P and make that into the new crest, which, thank God, they didn't. It's like, it reminded me of looking at the museum at those possible designs for the 911.
Right.
They were ugly as anything, and you're thinking, oh my God, thank God cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah.
And they didn't choose any of these.
One of them looks like a superhero mask.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So, Robert, if you can go back to what looks like a napkin right there. Stop right there. So here's something that we need to demystify.
Yes.
Frank Young and Dieter Landenberger have shared this story with us. So out there is a belief that that the Porsche Crest was designed at a bar, on a napkin.
A restaurant with Max Hoffman
Yeah.
and Ferry Porsche.
Yeah, and people have actually created. Actually, we have some of those.
Porsche did.
Yeah.
Porsche made marketing. Remember, they were giving
Yeah.
out these napkins with the supposedly
Yeah.
the drawing.
But that's far from the truth. They did have a discussion about how a logo needed to be designed for the mark, but actually they held a contest. They held a contest at Porsche, and one of the designers is the one that actually created the Porsche badge. So hopefully that's a little bit of little interesting tidbit that you might not have known.
And I
before.
remember when we discovered what the antlers were. We didn't.
Yeah.
Remember, we were in
Yeah,
front of the museum, and they were starting a tour, and we were waiting for somebody, and we were just listening to the tour guide, and the tour guide was talking about the crest, and he brought up he goes, these are antlers because the family is they're hunters. We looked at each other. We're like, holy my God! I never realized.
We thought those were eyelashes.
I didn't know what they were, but it never occurred. I'm not a deer hunter, so it didn't occur to me be antlers. But yeah, that's very cool. But anyways, it's a cool story, and if you look it up, the dealers in the early '60s did not prevail, and
For what it's worth, I think out of those 5 alternative logos, the circle with the red background and the white P with the dark center.
I would agree with you. I
That's
think
probably
that's
the best out of those.
Yeah, I would agree. but don't change it.
But yeah, don't change
Don't
it.
change it. Don't change
Remember
it.
when what Mazda went to the the toilet seat logo for like 3 years or something?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Manny does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mazda, they
You
changed
were
it.
like
and then
wondering
people,
what
nope.
the world did they.
Oh.
The one looked like an alien looking around inside of a door.
Oh. So before I left, I got news that our friend Kel Gruner was departing PCNA,
Yep.
and the question was, where was he going?
And
I
these are
love
still
the-
rumors, I believe.
Yeah.
I love the people that text me that said, "What's a scoop? What's going on?" I'm like, "Do you really think I'm that high of a level that Kel called me up?" To
He
tell
called me up and told me.
Yeah, I told him. Yeah, go ahead. You should do it.
Don't tell anybody else, though.
So it's official that he is leaving for.
Well, is it official or there was
Oh.
rumors?
Oh, is it still a rumor?
It's still a rumor.
We've
I
heard
think.
rumors
Yeah.
that he's going to Rivian.
We heard it. We heard internally that it would be Rivian, and that's
little
now
text
there's
thread.
several articles out saying that he's going to probably go to Rivian.
So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure at that level there's some time period before
Yeah.
maybe they make an announcement. But Rivian's building a $5 billion plant in Atlanta.
Oh.
And just what the article said is that because Kel had such a important role in expanding the dealer network for Porsche, that may be one of the reasons why they want to bring him in to help Rivian.
Wow.
Well, Porsche has done really well in the U.S. the past few years.
Yeah. I mean,
And,
he
hats off to
he
him.
has an awesome resume, and so congratulations if that is in fact the case. Congratulations, really, to Rivian because
Yeah,
to
right.
score someone like Kel and have that experience, and so
So now we wait.
Now
to
we
see
wait to see who will take
who's
out.
going to be crowned king next.
Yeah. So I
They're usually
believe
always Germans.
in the interim, another dear friend of ours is running PCNA. It's two people, I think. Theory.
Theory and Joe Lawrence.
Joe Lawrence.
the
So,
COO.
so two folks that we also know very well, and I'm sure they'll do a good job keeping the ship going in the right
Yeah, I
direction.
asked if they thought they would have a CEO by Rennsport, and they said it very highly unlikely.
And this is not the first time where we go into a Rennsport where they didn't have a CEO in place, because I remember one of them was before Klaus came on board. Klaus didn't go to Rennsport, I don't think.
The last Rennsport actually is that when we? No, it was Rennsport 5 when we met Andre,
Right.
because he showed up to the.
So Andre was there, but Klaus wasn't on
Klaus
board
was
yet.
at 6.
He wasn't-
but not 5.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Who's before Klaus again? Was
who's
that
going to
Detlef?
open at the keg then?
You and I, official duty.
I told Kathy Lee, our Porsche contact, I said, well, for our little tent, we won't have a keg. We'll have a 6-pack we can open up at 10 o'clock on Thursday when Rennsport starts.
So you did have this the next news item. I couldn't click on it because I wasn't active and I didn't have time. It says paint to sample has gone too far. Is that has to do with the?
Yeah, that's I'm surprised
Is that
it's not
about the-
wasn't active anymore. Yeah, Steve. So I thought it was like super cool.
Oh, the paint. Yeah, yeah.
that,
Okay. Yep.
And then you said when you're all in London, we're going to paint the office before the
Yep.
open house. And
That's my goal.
Sheer panic ensued. Like, what in the world? Is he crazy?
Oh, we're gonna paint. Trust me. We're gonna choose a few of those colors, and because some of the walls here at the office need to be cleaned up anyway, so we'll pick some cool colors.
So, anyways, you can get and this is the ultimate. You can get a PTS color in house paint.
Yeah.
And,
Interior. House
interior
paint,
color,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Although the speed yellow exterior would be really cool.
Yeah.
This is interior. So
My hopes is, I go for like Bare Premium Plus. I think that's the one that they have now, where it's like single coat and it's super easy to go on. I hope the paint partner that they chose is also a very good paint company.
Did I read?
Because I
think
don't want to do
read
like
somewhere
10
that
coats.
$75 a gallon or a liter, or I know it's two different measurements somehow, but it was not cheap.
As long as it goes on well. I mean, we're just gonna do accent walls. We're not gonna be painting the whole office. So
Yeah.
something for me to do when we get back from some of our travels.
Get back
here.
from where?
So
You're traveling like the next 6 months.
I know. I will figure it out. My wife says it all the time. You have too much planned, but I'll make it happen. The next thing is the 718 Cayman GT4 RS at the Nürburgring.
Yep, 6 seconds dropped only
Yeah.
with aero and I guess suspension too.
This is a Manti
Yeah,
kit.
Manti kit for the RS.
Can you say where this may be coming?
So I can say that at Goodwood, I met with the folks at Montai, and they are interested in making sure they have a great relationship with PCA, and they will try to take advantage of our presence at Rennsport and share with our members what Montai is doing. And this is not a guarantee, but I can only assume that the GT4 RS with the Montai kit will probably have presence at Rennsport, and hopefully we'll get some time with it. Not driving it, but at least I'll bring it over and show it off.
Did you mention your technical director
You know,
doesn't
we-
have budget for a rental car and could use one to drive back and forth?
How cool would that be to do? If not, maybe it deserves more than a 1 mile review.
Let us see him light up.
But that would be super cool because it's not available yet. That would be. Oh, I would love to do
We
something.
could
on
find
that car.
another RS and how quick? Who gets back to Hampton Inn and Salinas?
or a DIY install Manti kit.
You guys are unreasonable.
Well, that would be pretty
Unreasonable.
cool if it came to the.
Yeah.
Well, when you're done there, I'll give a quick Rennsport update.
Okay.
Coming to Rennsport.
Also, I got to see the car that was, I think it was released on Thursday while I was at Goodwood, and the car was at Goodwood, and that was the 357 Speedster concept, and it was in a glass box, and thankfully protected from the elements. And I'm going to guess that that car too will make it to Rennsport.
Nice.
Maybe that's the one that can't get wet.
I was just gonna say. Yeah,
That would make
probably
sense.
is it.
All I remember hearing in our meetings was there's a car coming that can't get wet.
Yeah,
I thought that was the Mission X.
That
but-
car definitely can't get wet. Oh, I guess I glossed over the fact that the Mission X was at Goodwood as well, and they built this box, and it had some Mission X branding, but not much. But you kind of cued at one end of the box, and they let in maybe 24 people at a time, and you go in this box, and they did this awesome video, and you can stand. You can. I mean, no one did.
I know which box you're talking about.
But you could touch the
Yeah.
Mission X if you wanted to, but everyone was respectful.
Yeah.
And I did capture a
Yeah.
picture, and I forgot I didn't give it to Robert, but I took a very close photo of the cheetah that's on the side of the
Oh,
Mission
yeah.
X, and the car looks amazing. Who knows what part of it will ever make it into production?
I wonder what the story is behind the cheetah, and then I think it's a unicorn on the 357 concept, Speedster concept.
So, from what I've heard, it's just the designers. It's a thing that they do.
They just like to-
they just
it's a
like
fun little thing.
fun animals, and their little Easter egg. That's their Easter egg when they design a car, and they chose the cheetah for that car.
Nice.
And it was announced that will be at Rennsport.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right. How about speaking of Rennsport? You want to give your Rennsport update?
So if you have a Corral Pass, this is critical because if you do have a Corral Pass, then you can buy a Parade Lap ticket.
Must have corral.
If you don't have a Corral Pass and a Porsche, you will not be able to get into the lot where we stage the cars to go out for the Parade Lap. The good news is it's early in the morning. That is also the bad news. That means you have to
It's
get
early in the morning.
The good news is once you're done, you're the whole day in front of you. You don't have to come back at any time to stage for the Parade Lap, and you're the first one there, so you can start the day bright and early. The bad news is you got to be there like 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, and they have a driver's briefing, and that's mandatory. If you don't attend that, you don't get the wristband. Without the wristband, you don't go on the track. But right now, the tickets went on sale Tuesday, and they're almost halfway sold out. So I would imagine within a week or so, at least the preferable days, which right now is as expected Saturday. Actually, no, Friday is actually busier than Saturday.
Oh, really?
Right now, I think Friday and Saturday will sell out very quickly, and Sunday, and the last is Thursday, because Thursday is always the least attended day of Rennsport.
Are we still looking for? We have some room for volunteers.
Yes, plenty of room for volunteers.
Okay.
You get the event poster that they sell for, I don't know, $60.
Mm-hmm.
You get that for free, and you get this very cool T-shirt from Porsche that's only available to volunteers. That's also free. And the shifts are anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. You can
And
just do one
for-
shift or multiple. You still get the.
I believe the message was too that not only do we is volunteering still available, but we want more volunteers.
Oh, okay.
So sign up if you want to be a part of it.
For both the parade laps as well as volunteer registration, that's on Motorsports Reg.
Yep. And and for the juniors, we're going to assemble a team of teenagers to help out with the concours on Saturday at judging.
Oh, cool.
So normally we have youth judging, which varies, I think, any age, 18 and under. Because this is going to be a fairly exclusive concours and a short amount of time that the concours is open, we asked Porsche if we could assemble a team of youth judges that were teenagers, and they loved the idea. So we'll probably get 5 or 6 teenagers, and they'll be treated just like judges. And so just look out for more information about that as we announce it, and we'll handpick some young people and teach them about how to break somebody's heart in finding dirt.
And speaking of registering, we have, I believe, sold out the judged registration for Works Reunion Monterey, but we still have a few corral spots. So if you haven't secured your corral registration for Works Reunion Monterey, make sure you do that sooner than later.
And more importantly, the grill badges went on sale yesterday.
Oh, those will sell out. I don't know if they'll even be left by the time we hear this.
They are, as of this podcast, we have 96 out of the 125 sold.
Yeah.
So
hopefully there's still a few available
Yeah.
for you guys that are listening. The open house is coming up. The
Yeah.
open house registration opens August 2nd. I believe it's September 9th, the Saturday.
Don't remember. Have to look it back up.
Again, also on Motorsports Reg. We'll definitely bring the tent out, some music.
September 9th, yep.
Tour the office. Hopefully have a few accent walls with some paint to sample colors. Be a fun time, and more importantly, we got some barbecue coming.
Nice.
Right?
And they're repaving our lot, I think, today.
They are.
They are.
And then Treffin, September 20th through 24th, Gateway to the West. A few spaces are still available. So if you're looking for a 4 to 5 star luxury event, non-competitive, just you and your spouse heading out, enjoying good food, good roads, and good attractions, sign up for that sooner than later.
Ritz-Carlton, so you know it's going to be good.
Oh yeah, you know it's going to be good. All right. Anything else going on that I need to make sure? Oh, going back to that one picture when I was at Goodwood. So the people that you run into, right? I ran into Jay Ward as we were crossing the bridge. He was there, and they had like a Pixar thing going on. And of course, I run into Lee Newton.
Who's British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually went to, I believe, Dubai for a while with Porsche. He was actually there. He's not currently with Porsche, but he's got a project which I can't talk about right now. But he will share with us hopefully in November when he is in LA. And so I think we're going to see Lee kind of back in our
awesome.
scene. So
Remind me, who is Lee? I don't
so
think
Lee,
I've met him.
Lee Newton was
He's like what Philip is now, I would say.
yeah. So
Okay, within
when
Porsche,
I started in
Porsche design.
when I started in 2005 and then went to my very first Porsche parade, when I sat down at dinner, he was one of the PAG PCNA representatives, and we were all kind of young, and things were different back then, and we have some funny stories, background stories, and we brought that up when we saw him. And he obviously commented, it's amazing how much the relationship has grown stronger since the first days that we met. And Paul actually came on at around that same time too.
Okay.
So that dinner
It helped we had a past president that did not get along with Porsche as well as we hoped.
yeah.
And so when they met us, it was a
Yeah. But it was like, build the relationship from there. And of course, we have an amazing relationship with him. And so it's good to see him. And also, walking around, you bump into someone like Chris Harris.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. And interesting enough, he didn't have like an entourage around him. He was just walking around and, said hello. And yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
So again, I want to thank Nick, Simon, Lee, Ruth, and Paul Greger for an amazing time at Goodwood. And again, if it's not on your bucket list add to it, but make sure you plan for it because there are some details that you definitely want to know. And for those of you that might even be interested in attending Wimbledon, my wife has done some tremendous research on that, and if you want to talk to her about making a Wimbledon experience out of it, I'm sure she'd be willing to share how to do so.
I can see this conversation tonight. There might be a lot of people contacting you.
No, she's so proud. She's so proud because she did it on the cheap, and she got better seats than Brad Pitt. Like,
oh, wow.
She was sitting 2 rows behind the players, and her friend Evelyn that was sitting next to her, Djokovic hit this ball like to the side, and actually Evelyn caught the ball.
Is it like baseball? You get to keep it?
No,
You got it.
you have to give it back. I was like, what? You had to give the ball
I don't know
back.
where it went.
and the thing is, they stopped the play,
Yeah.
and the line judge or whomever comes over and stands in front of you and give me the ball back.
Wow.
Make sure it's not a deflated
Yeah.
or anything, right?
Yeah, so I was like, did you take a picture? So I was watching it. I was at home watching it on TV, and I saw the ball go across, and then I see a text that Loanne goes, Evelyn caught the ball. I'm like, sweet. And then Harj is like, they have to give that back. I'm like, what? Yeah, you have to give the ball back. It's the kind thing, and I guess the right thing to do, and that's what they do.
What does it cost? Like $2?
I don't think it's about the cost of the ball. It's just those are the balls that are in play, and you use those balls.
I'll educate you a little bit because you don't watch baseball either. Even though the Orioles are tied for first place right now.
Oh, are they?
congratulations.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
As a long-suffering Orioles fan, we never thought we'd ever see the day
Okay,
when
okay.
they weren't in last. And what makes it even sweeter is that the New York Yankees are last place.
Oh,
in the
no.
division.
Probably
But-
time to become an
all the
Orioles
hate
fan.
mail, all the hate mail that's going to.
But anyways, no, the Yankees always win. They know I even read a comment where somebody said, "I'm a lifelong Yankees fan, but if anyone's going to beat the Yankees and go all the way, I want it to be the Orioles." So because they were terrible for the longest time. Anyways, in baseball, the true fans, when they catch a home run ball, if it's the opposing team, they will throw it back.
Oh,
Now you have other ones that are like, "Oh, I'm not throwing
Yeah.
this ball away regardless," but
Right.
the stadium will boo until
Yeah.
the person throws it. But if it's your own team, then you keep the ball. But if it's opposing, you throw the ball back.
now what? Of course, Loanne planned for this. There is a particular spot by the 12th court that you can buy used Wimbledon tennis balls.
That's
And-
why they had to give him back.
No,
Right?
I mean I don't know, but now you queue in line.
Used by who?
That's the thing is so of course we queue in line to go get these used tennis balls, and there's limited supply, so everybody's in line for it, and
And there's no one outside Wimbledon selling
no,
cheaper than the inside
No.
like they would be here.
no. Okay, one more factoid for you. So you know about Wimbledon, but I guess I didn't realize this. But did you realize Wimbledon is a town?
I got to say, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Right.
But it never occurred to me that it was
So
actually
it's,
a town
so
named
it's a
Wimbledon.
town of Wimbledon, and it's so cool to walk around, and they embrace, like, the tennis ball is in their floral displays. The tennis ball is part of their tagline.
I think Porsche has a color called Wimbledon green.
I think that's right.
And I wonder,
Yep.
is that an official green? Or is that was the green of the grass?
Yeah.
Or
But yeah, it's a whole town, and they are absolutely proud of Wimbledon, and very cool. But like I said before, even the locals, it's so hard to get into. Locals can only some of them can only dream that maybe that they'll be there.
maybe that's time for you to go watch our Ravens game in person.
You tell me when
Or-
it's a good
or
idea.
at least an Orioles game.
So
Yeah.
my siblings, they do all that. Like they do Orioles, they do Ravens. Funny, they never invite me because I know they know how hard it is to get those tickets, and they know that I won't appreciate as much. So maybe that's why they don't.
Yeah.
But Manny, you let me know when we need to go to. I've been to an Orioles game because we got
How long ago?
A long time ago. Jason was like in 4th grade, and he
Were
won.
they in the new stadium yet, or-
He won tickets. It was in the new stadium. He won tickets because of a homework assignment or something like that. So we did that. I have not
You
gone.
probably
to a
remember
Ravens game.
what you ate, but not who they played.
Peanuts, sausage.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and speaking of food in England, what do you think of food when you think of England?
Gordon Ramsay?
Fish and chips,
Yeah,
fish
right.
and
obviously.
chips, something like
and then
that.
and
Shepherd's
A lot of
pie.
Indian food, I would
a
think.
lot of Indian
Yeah.
food. I will tell you, the food scene there is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
is.
it was going to be
Agreed.
limited, but the food scene is.
I heard the
amazing.
McDonald's are even better than ours.
Oh, the
Oh,
food
yeah.
scene is good, and everything is fresh, and the fish and chips, yes, it was good, but it's kind of a basic dish. The Indian food, we went to this place called Dasan, which is down the street from our friends. Michelin rated.
Oh, wow.
Indian food. My God.
Oh,
The
I bet.
best Indian food I've ever had. So I apologize if I'm not, we're not talking all Porsche stuff this particular podcast, but hopefully it gives you some insight of whether or not you want to head to London, England, and know that if you plan to go to Goodwood, you're going to have an amazing experience in addition to the car activity, but the culture, the food, everything. And, Porsche Club Great Britain, I'm sure if you reach out to them, they'll even kind of take you under their wing. So with that, make sure if you haven't signed up for e-brake news, performance news, Mark Fresh news, head over to pca.org. We'll set you up so you can stay in the know of what's going on in PCA, and hopefully Porsche Club Great Britain and friends will share this podcast and they can stay in the know of what's going on here stateside, and we'll see some of them at Rennsport. For now, thanks for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and you own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head over to pca.org and we'll set you up. If you are looking for a Porsche, we have the Porsche Test Drive program. Again, pca.org, and we will set you up there. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, as well as a PCA Instagram page. You can get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word, or Porsche Club of America. If you want to send us a note, you can always do so by sending a note to podcast@pca.org. But, of course, we love reading your comments on YouTube. Again, appreciate all the subscribe and the like buttons. Stay in touch with Everything's All PCA. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.